Hi, I'm Gaby.
And I'm Shaila, and you're listening to Climate Talk with Gaby and Shaila.
We're super excited. We're going to be speaking to Stacey Chang today. Stacey is also a Wharton MBA. We met her about 5 years ago at Wharton at a reunion, and she was telling us all about a company that she had just started. She produces vegan shoes.
That's right. The company is called Veerah, and it's been a fascinating journey for her, I'm sure. We can't wait to ask her more about it. Stacey, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. There's so much we want to ask you about, but we like to start by asking everyone what their journey has been. I know you've done a number of things. You had a role working with Coach in New York, an Estee Lauder in Hong Kong. You
Yes.
acquired an MBA from Wharton, same place that Gaby and I went to along the way. So, what was that journey that brought you now to this great product of vegan shoes? And if I can ask as well, I noticed on your website you completed the Iron Woman triathlon wearing a pair of one of your high heel shoes. So, I would love to hear more about that as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. First, I'm so happy to be here today, share my story. So Veerah just turned 5 years old last week. So it's really exciting. I feel same time, I feel I just started yesterday, but also I feel I've been doing this for like 30 years. It just feels be such a long journey, but there's still so much more I want to do. I feel we just got started. But when I really just started I was still working with Estee Lauder in Hong Kong. And I remember the time I went to a conference, and at the time just feel like as a woman, why do I bring so many stuff with me? Like, why is that I have to bring a spare shoes to a conference in a really nice hotel? And then where do I change my spare shoes? It's in the hotel lobby, in the bathroom, just all that, right? Many women go to conference feel the same way, like you have to prepare so many things along with another spare shoes that for comfort because you have to walk to subway, etc. And I just feel as a woman, it got to be a better solution. Why can I just focus on going to the conference, network, and then do the best I can versus I have to worry about other things. How do I look? How's my shoes? Am I comfortable? All that. So I think that's where really I sparked the idea of Veerah. Like I feel there's so many, even in the fashion industry, it's very male dominant industry, right? Most of designers are males. I don't think they really understand what they are putting women through when they design a pair of shoes. What's our lifestyle like? How we live, go about our day to day. So that's how the idea really started. I just want to make better shoes for myself. And I'm sure there's many women will resonate the same idea. Then I started thinking about, okay, I'm going to make my shoes. Then what are important thing? Then just, I don't want to just make another pretty shoes, but what are important value for myself? So then I think about, being a vegetarian since 2005. I really believe that I don't want to harm any animals, but at the same time, I don't want to sacrifice my style. So that's kind of like thinking about, as I'm developing this new line, what are the important values for me, and how can I making sure my value and my closet are aligned. So that's how I got started. And then along the way, I think, starting a business is really tough. Probably you both know as well, starting your new fund. And it just need to find a way to find a better balance, to feel like even work is hard, but I need to have something else on the side to accomplish something for myself, to keep myself sane. So that's why I started doing a lot of triathlon races. And I feel it's really great to feel something else in my life. I can have something solid to accomplish. I know if I go for a run, I know for sure I'll get better, stronger. And then I see my next race, how my time improved. And that's why you saw a picture of, I did Iron Girl race last year, and I'm actually doing a half Ironman next year. I'm really excited. I just signed up. And I always like to bring our shoes to those races because I feel really embody that what Veerah is about. Veerah means warrior in Sanskrit because I believe we are all warriors, right? So that's take our that spirit to go out there and conquer the world, and then while making a better impact. So that's a long answer to your question, but yeah.
It's an impressive journey, and I think Stacey, I'm 10 years, I think, ahead of you at Wharton, and we met on campus at one of our reunions, and then subsequently in New York. So I'm familiar with your story, and I do own quite a few pair of your shoes, and I love them. So I remember you talking about the challenges starting a business is a challenge in itself, but the supply chain is not in place. And I
Right.
think you have family in Taiwan, and that has played a role. We keep thinking about different industries where a lot of innovation is taking place. So tell us more about how did you start? How did you start
Mm.
designing the shoes and thinking about these completely different materials that you're using? And tell us more about the skin of the apple and all of the
Yeah.
different kind of ingredients that the
Mm.
shoes are made of.
Right, right. Yeah, so even though I've always been like retail fashion related industry, I have never been in the footwear. And I think maybe that's one reason I decided to footwear, because I didn't know how hard it would be. I know, right? I just see like shoes everywhere. How hard can that be? It's actually really, really hard. If I have known it, probably I would rethink about if I want to do footwear. But at the time I didn't know. I just think, I mean, do it. I start go to a lot. Actually, in the beginning, I actually went to Milan to learn about footwear design and manufacturing, just understand the basic technology, like how factories actually work. And then I spent a lot in the beginning. I spent a lot of time, in Europe as well, in Asia, in China and Taiwan, to look for the right manufacturing partners and the sourcing partner as well. And it's a lot of challenges. One is a lot of factories you need to meet the minimum, which is definitely don't meet the minimum. And even if factories are willing to work with you, the sourcing itself is very challenging, because factories really just, they then buy leathers, whatever materials from another suppliers, right? So that supplier also have their minimum. So every little piece also has minimum. Hardware has minimum. So even if you find one supplier willing to work with you, they also have their own suppliers they need to deal with. So in order to overcome that, I actually did a lot of sourcing myself. So I tell factory, you just help me to make the shoes. I will figure out the upper material. I figure out lining. I figure out outsole. I feel the insole. I'll do all of it for you. Just help me to put it together. So definitely, I feel it's very similar. Like I guess very similar to talk to VC as well. Like instead of asking for money, is asking, can you please work with me? And then for them to really believe in my vision, want to partner with me, help me to make my initial collections. And it is the same amount of work to make 10 pair of shoes versus 10,000 pair of shoes. That's, if not even more work, just make that 10 pair, because they also need to do a lot of development and then testing. And with all this new type of material, we need to rethink about, does the glue still work? Does the backing still works? It just takes a lot of trial. And so it requires a lot of patience from our manufacturers as well to do a lot of different testing. So I think it's really important, really keep that communications with factories, that I'm personally in the factories a lot of time. Instead of, I think a lot of time, most brands just, have outsourced that the QC and then sourcing and production outside, or working with consulting, etc., or trading company to start. But I think for me, it's very important, like be on the ground, working with factories directly, working with the factory owners so they understand our visions, talking to the factory workers too, so they look at this, they know this is not leather. And in general, when they make non-leather shoes, that means they want to cut costs. So maybe they're my size, oh, this is not leather, so I don't need to be as detail oriented. So I have to be there telling them, no. The challenging here is you're making shoes, non-leather, but have to look and feel better than leather shoes. So I have to be there to explain that, the concept, and to them. And so it does take a lot of my energy, but it's really interesting to work with partners who actually make our shoes in the supply chain. And then Gaby, kind of go back to your second part of questions about sourcing. And so that started off is also going to a lot of different trade shows, looking at new materials. And specifically for apple peel leathers, I saw it was on TV actually to start. There was a Paris climate change conference. I see a group of scientists outside, like take like leather chair made out of apple peels. I was so fascinated by that. I think they were so crazy. Then I started trying to look for the information, contact them, and then say, can I use the same material for shoes? They were like, not ready. But then I just keeping asking every 6 months or so. So eventually I said, yeah, this new material, I think maybe you can try for shoes now. So then we were able to do that and then test it out and then become the first brand we're able to launch a collection made out of apple peel leather. Yeah.
That's so fascinating to hear and inspiring as well. Traditional industries and how people may not have thought of how they can evolve, but the kind of options that might be available. So wonderful to hear. Can you tell us a little bit also about the demand side? How important is that sustainability angle to the clients, the people buying your shoes, and how have you seen that change? And I guess how do you gauge that?
Yeah, so I think it's important. But I don't think it's not yet it's a must thing for consumers. I think for most people who purchase a pair of shoes, it has to be functional and look good. That's the initial intention to buy a pair of shoes, because I want to look good in this occasion. I want to feel good or feel comfortable to go out and work, etc. So I think it's very important thing is, the aesthetic wise and the function wise, it has to make the mark first. Then you tell them it's not just about pair of pretty shoes, but with all this innovation in terms of the comfort and then the design and the materials, that's how we hook them. And then we see a lot of repeat purchases. And I think afterwards, they start to learn more about the brands. They realize, wow, there's more to it. And then they come back more and more. But I definitely think in the beginning, you have to make sure you fulfilled the product needs and expectation. Yeah.
But you bring sustainability to the product in many different ways, right? So the materials is one aspect, but it's also this aspect of a rational purchase, right? So you have all the accessories that you can use to give different looks. So it's the same pair of shoes, right, that you use at during the day at the office, and then in the evening you accessorize and right. So it's making that rational consumption. Now that you're so close to your users and your buyers, do you see different demographics giving importance to this kind of sustainability and rational consumption? Is this a trend that you think it's going to be a very big one?
Yeah, I think that's when I'm thinking about our customers, it's not necessarily in terms of, we have very wide range of customer from like early 20s to like early 60s. I think in this age wise is not as important for us, but it's more on the value they care, like the belief system, the value they want something high quality products. They don't want to compromise on their style, but at the same time they understand the impact of the consumption. So they are looking for better options. I think part of our customers really looking from the sustainability angle, and then also a very big group of customers who are very passionate about like the veganism as well as animal well-being. So we have a lot of customers really, really don't want to hurt any animals from their daily life, right? So I think that part definitely really attracted to them. Like they feel like I want something that still can express my style, but align with my own value set. So that I think that's where we continue to see, like, where our customer find this important thing is, making sure they want it all. They want style, they want comfort, they want, the material that is better for the environment. Yeah.
And how do you see also the supply chain and the sourcing of the materials evolving in the next few years? You mentioned in the beginning it was hard to even convince the producers and the suppliers of the apple peels to provide the material for shoes. So do you see that getting easier? Are there more and more options now? Is it becoming more mainstream, or is it still several years away from that?
I think definitely it's easy. I wouldn't say easy, but definitely there are more options these days. And I think this is overall trend, there's more demand. So now our suppliers are more willing to put investment behind it and thinking about not just apple leather, but also like just in general, made out of like recycled plastic bottles. There's a lot of innovation with different other plant-based materials, because they hear a lot of people are asking for it, and bigger brands are asking for it as well. So I definitely feel like now there are more of manufacturers are willing to put more resource behind it, doing more, studies. And even one of our partners, before he was making handbag, and now he sees that with the apple peels success, that he actually now starting doing more development, completely changing his supply chain. Now he's doing development for different type of plant-based material. So I think definitely it's going through the right direction, but it does takes a lot of time and resource to do all the different type of testing. Yeah. But I'm very optimistic. Yeah.
And Stacey, we always like to talk about with our guests in the show about 2030 predictions. We have a 10-year kind of horizon. So if you were to extrapolate from what you're seeing, where things were 5 years ago when you started, and where it is right now, you're a very global citizen, right? So you have a view of the supply chain, production, consumers across the planet. Where do you think we're going to be? The fashion industry is going to be in 2030. Consumer preferences, generally speaking, across different generations. Give us a little bit of where you think we're leaning towards, from your perspective.
Right. I definitely think we are just the world as a whole become more interconnected, right? That's even thinking about our products, we have just, one shoes have so many different suppliers from different part of the world to make things together. I think that'll continue to be the case, that every supplier or country have their specialties, and then we bring the best thing all together. I think that it just will continue to happen. That's the world needs to collaborate better, and I think with all the technology developments, I think things will happen more efficiently, for sure. But I do think from consumer interaction parts, it actually will need more personalizations to feel more you are not just another number, because I feel like there's more things we actually want to do, make customer feel like the product we provide for her is made for her, not just for everyone's. And I think from product development as well as customer service communications, it becomes very important that you take everyone as a person and really trying to feel that they are connected with a person, not just not just a number. So I think in the long run is the brand who's gonna win. Yes, they need to really, embrace all the new technology, but at the same time, not to forget the basic human being interactions. How can I take care of my customer in a more personalized level? So I think that's also very important. And from the fashion and sustainability aspect of things, I do think that wouldn't be as niche like today. I still think, even though a lot of people are talking about sustainability, etc., I hope it's not become just a buzzword and not really have much meaning to it, But I do think that being seen in the supply chain side, doesn't matter what's their intention. Is it because better business, or is because they have vision for the environment? I don't mind what our suppliers' intention are, but at the end of the day, they are putting resource behind it, trying to make better product, trying to think about how can we reduce our waste, how can we reduce our energy and water and all that. So I do think that in the future we will have better products that's made out of better materials. And that will be part of just given you have to do that. So as a brand, we need to continue to think about what else we can do to innovate. Yeah.
Well, we will be watching that closely with eagerness. Thank you so much, Stacey, for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure and fascinating to hear your story and all the great work that you're doing. So good luck, and we hope to have you back soon again.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Stacey. It was great to catch up.
So good to catch up.